The Western Pennsylvania Golf Association was established on May 12, 1899, just 4.5 years after the formation of the USGA. The charter clubs of the WPGA were Pittsburgh Golf Club, Pittsburgh Field Club, Edgeworth, Edgewood, and Allegheny. By 1914, membership had grown to 21, as most new area courses promptly joined the USGA and the WPGA. New clubs that joined included Washington County, Shenley Park, Greensburg, Westmoreland, and Oakmont. The WPGA's growth has continued, and today there are 75 member clubs. In 1992, the WPGA began to compute handicaps for its member clubs by using the USGA Golf Handicap and Information Network. As a result, individual membership doubled from 13,000 to 26,500. From the outset, the WPGA displayed a devotion to establishing an amateur program that would foster great golf talent. The WPGA was founded to conduct tournaments. The West Penn Amateur and the West Penn Open were the first two championships. Early amateurs attracted about 100 entries, and typical opens totaled 50 contestants. George Ormiston of Highland and Oakmont won the inaugural West Penn Amateur in 1899 at Pittsburgh Golf Club. In its first 50 years, the WPGA's championship schedule consisted of the Amateur, Open, Junior, and Four-Ball. The Brothers Championship began at Shannapin in 1950. In 1954, the WPGA began conducting the Senior Championship and Father-Son. The Sunnyhanna Amateur began in 1954, and it involved state amateur winners and other top amateur golfers. The event has become one of the country's most respected amateur championships. The region has hosted a number of tournaments over the years, including major championships for both men and women. The U.S. Open has been held at Oakmont 7 times. William Fones was instrumental in securing national tournaments for the club, thereby establishing its championship tradition. In 1953, Ben Hogan won the Open in his greatest year in golf. Having also won the Masters and the British Open, Hogan had captured 3 Grand Slam titles in 1 year, an achievement surpassed only by the legendary Bobby Jones. In 1962, the U.S. Open was won by Jack Nicklaus. He defeated Arnold Palmer in a playoff. This victory was his first as a professional and his first major championship. Johnny Miller won the 1973 U.S. Open, and his finishing score of 63 is still a record for the lowest final round played in a major. Oakmont's history of hosting the U.S. Open culminated with the 1994 championship. Ernie Els won his first of 2 Open titles after winning a playoff against Lauren Roberts and Colin Montgomery. Oakmont has also hosted the U.S. Amateur, including the 1919 championship, which was also Oakmont's first major. S. Davidson Heron, playing at his home club, defeated Bob Jones in the final 5-4. Bob Jones returned to win the 1925 U.S. Amateur. Jones called Oakmont the ultimate challenge to championship golf. Other national championships staged in our area include the 1971 U.S. Women's Open that was held at Kakwa. Joanne Carner won the title by 6 strokes. Previously, Carner had won the 1966 U.S. Women's Amateur at Sewickley Heights. In 1922, the region hosted its first PGA championship. Gene Sarazen of Highland won the tournament just a month after he had won the U.S. Open. He stayed in Oakmont's clubhouse during the event. The 1937 PGA Championship was hosted by the Pittsburgh Field Club. Denny Shute, a leading pro at the time, won the event. In 1951, the event was again held at Oakmont. Sam Snead, one of the game's greatest players, won the tournament when it was still match play 7-6 against Walter Berkemo. The PGA Championship returned in 1965. Laurel Valley hosted the event, which was won by Dave Marr. Laurel Valley would also provide the setting for the 1975 Ryder Cup. A strong U.S. squad captained by Arnold Palmer dominated the British team, winning by a margin of 10 points. Since its inception, the WPGA has been recognized as one of the premier golf associations in the country. As we head into the next century, our mission remains the same: to help the game of golf prosper in this area. If the next 100 years are anything like the first 100, there is no doubt we will reach our goal. For 100 years, the Western Pennsylvania Golf Association has been responsible for a long line of excellent golfers and administrators. John Moorhead Jr. founded the WPGA in 1899. Moorhead organized the WPGA and served as the association's president until 1914. He was generally acknowledged as the driving force behind the game of golf in Western Pennsylvania. Eben Byers of Allegheny was the area's first national champion, winning the U.S. Amateur in 1906. He qualified for the Amateur every year except one from 1900 to 1919. W.C. Phones was one of the best amateur golfers of his day. He won the 1910 U.S. Amateur and also served as USGA president in 1926 and 27. He and his father Henry founded Oakmont in 1903. S. Davidson Herron of Oakmont won the 1919 U.S. Amateur. Herron served as president of the WPGA in 1945. Oh yes, and a young man from Latrobe by the name of Arnold Palmer won the 1954 U.S. Amateur. This victory was the most significant of his career.
Without winning the amateur, and without that having happened, I'm not sure where my life might have gone. I might have stayed in the manufacturing business, and I might have done a lot of things, but I think you can see that it really did have a definite effect on me.
Arnold turned professional and won the U.S. Open 6 years later in one of the most memorable comebacks in golf history. 3 other WPGA players have won the U.S. Open. Sam Parks from South Hills won the Open in 1935, surprising the outstanding field. Parks was the only player to break 300 for 4 rounds. Lou Worsham of Oakmont won the U.S. Open in 1947 by defeating Sam Snead in a playoff. Ed Fergall of Westmoreland won the 1954 U.S. Open. Though he never won the title, Bobby Cruikshank of Chartiers was a runner-up at 2 U.S. Opens, and he won 23 tournaments nationally. Jock Hutchinson of Pittsburgh was also runner-up at 2 U.S. Opens. He emerged victorious at the 1920 PGA Championship and the 1921 British Open. Other WPGA members have shaped and influenced the growth of the game in this region. George Ormiston won the West Penn Amateur in 1899 and 1903. Ormiston served as the WPGA's executive secretary from 1914 to 1940 and was the association's first employee. J. Frederick Byers, Eben's brother, was the area's first USGA president in 1922 and 1923. Harton S. Bud Semple of Allegheny served on a variety of committees for the USGA, including a term as president in 1974-1975. He held the same post for the WPGA in 1957. Bud's wife Phyllis won the Women's GA of Western Pennsylvania title 6 times. Bud and Phyllis' daughter, Carol Semple Thompson, is recognized as the premier career woman amateur in the country. Carol has won 8 Women's GA of Western Pennsylvania titles, 16 Pennsylvania Women's State Championships, and the 1974 British Women's Amateur. She also won the 1973 U.S. Women's Amateur and 2 U.S. Women's Mid-Amateurs. Carol was selected to the USGA Executive Committee in 1994, only the second woman to receive that honor.
The West Penn Golf Association has done great things for the area. I would very much like to win another Women's West Penn Championship, and I've just barely beaten my mother's record in that championship, so I'll keep working on that.
Dorothy Campbell Hurd, who played at Oakmont and Westmoreland, won 3 U.S. Women's Amateur titles, and she won 11 national titles during her career. Jack Benson of South Hills was a top amateur of the 30s and 40s. He won 6 West Penn amateurs. Jack won the WPGA father and son 2 times, once with each of his 2 sons. Carl Kaufman of Shenley Park is considered the finest public course player the area has produced. He won the West Penn Amateur in 1925 and later won 3 consecutive U.S. Amateur Public Links titles. In 1965, Jim Miserio of Duquesne won the U.S. Junior Amateur at Wilmington, while Oakmont's Bob Kiersky won the USGA Senior Amateur at Fox Chapel. Fred Brand Jr. of Oakmont won the Bob Jones Award in 1996. Brand won the West Penn Junior and 2 West Penn Amateurs. He served as president of the WPGA in 1956. Bob Ford of Oakmont has won every major local event, 17 in all, and has been Player of the Year 6 times. In 1988, he was named PGA of America's National Player of the Year. Jim Simons of Butler had an outstanding amateur career. Simons led the 1971 U.S. Open after 3 rounds before finishing 5th. Jim played on the PGA Tour and won 3 tour titles. In 1981, Oakmont's Frank Fuhrer III and Titusville's Dick Von Tacky were named to the Walker Cup team. They joined Fones, Heron, and Simons as the only WPGA players who have earned that honor. Allegheny's Roy Vucinich surprised the field at the 1998 U.S. Senior Open. He was in second place after 2 rounds, and he finished tied for 22nd.
Uh-oh.
Well, if it'll come out of the fringe, it could come all the way back to the hole.
How about in the hole?
Yes, it could. Oh, man.
Today, the WPGA is represented on the PGA Tour by Rocco Mediate. Rocco set the course record of 61 at his home course in Greensburg in 1982. Neville Woods' Missy Bertiotti currently plays on the LPGA Tour. To date, Missy has won over $1 million on the tour. The Western Pennsylvania Golf Association has certainly benefited by such an outstanding collection of players and officials. As golf's popularity continues to grow, the WPGA seems well positioned to be of service to its members into the next millennium.